The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back at it, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Local Show. What a wonderful way to spend your Saturday and Sunday with Tom and Steve on The Local Show, learning about new local businesses and civic organizations, things like that. We bring them all on the show and get to know people who are doing business around our community. One such organization is the Alzheimer's Association, and that's Kate Flannery is a new director, sort of, right? You've been here for how long?
8 months now.
8 months, yeah.
I'm getting there.
Under a year. Kate Flannery, executive director of the upstate New York chapters of the Alzheimer's Association. You can see them online at alz.org, and then you have to put a slash in there and say Central New York, right?
Correct.
You know why they do it that way? Is because nobody can spell Alzheimer's.
That is true.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That is tough.
I can now, but I couldn't prior to this. That's right.
So you're an executive director now. What did you do before that?
Well, I identify as a social worker. I've been a social worker for a very long time. Okay. I've had a very blessed career. Really? I've worked with different populations, everyone from sexual assault and domestic violence work for women and children. I also came previously from breast cancer work, Susan G. Komen in the Race for the Cure. And then prior, I was at Francis House, which is very close to my heart. It's a social hospice home for people at end of life, which provides amazing services. So.
You have to have a big heart and a lot of patience.
I feel quite blessed to be able to work with people around really vulnerable, meaningful times in their lives to try and relieve some suffering and try and provide some supports. And I can't imagine selling widgets or doing anything else. I've always known, my mom will tell you, that's just who I am since I was young.
We have some customers that sell widgets, so please don't pick on those.
I know.
How do you keep yourself upbeat in your own life then?
I mean, obviously mental health. So I was trained in mental health as a therapist. So I do practice a fair amount of self-care. Faith helps, quite candidly. I have a strong sense of faith. I try to spend some time in nature. And you know, a part of it is there are pockets of hope and good people everywhere. You just have to make sure that you put that into your consideration, not just the news, right?
Yeah,
not just
the
daily news, which can be quite depressing.
Gosh, she's an upbeat lady. That's wonderful.
She's a lot like you, Tom.
No, not at all. I would be the anti that. So, but anyway, so Steve, ask a question.
I'm going to ask a question. Why does the Alzheimer's Association exist?
Well, very much so. So I think there are a lot of people suffering. Almost 7 million people in the United States have Alzheimer's. And so there are individuals who are suffering with this brain disease. Alzheimer's is under the umbrella of dementia. So think of dementia as the umbrella. Alzheimer's is 60% of dementia. And then there are 3 other types and some smaller ones. Other than that, you'll hear about frontal lobe or vascular, different types. But so Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. It's a form of brain disease. It is not natural aging, right? We all have some aging and some normal cognitive decline.
Walking up the hall to go to get something from Lori or the copy and getting into her office and going, let me think. I'm here for a reason. And then I retrack and I figure out what it was. That's normal for someone 61 years old?
That's right. There's normal cognitive decline. Alzheimer's is a disease where the brain, literally there's a disease in the brain cells and it's dying over time. And you lose your roadmap. I describe it as your memories, there's no room for extra memories, for new memories. That's why they'll remember someone who's struggling with the disease will remember something from, 40 years ago, but they can't necessarily tell you what they had for breakfast.
Right.
And they lose their roadmap. So they'll look at a fork and not necessarily know what it's for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
right.
that's very different than, word retrieval problems that we have as we normally age, or forgetting what I'm in the room for. Or where did I put my keys? Those are just normal aspects of aging.
I feel better.
Okay. You should. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you help families that have family members that are experiencing this?
Absolutely. So we have a variety of services in Central New York. At the office, we have over 20 individuals who are basically outreach I call them social workers. They're there to help provide people with services. They provide caregiver services through education, through support, through connecting people to various services, whether that's respite or connecting them with what they need to do legally or financially to protect and support their loved one. And also just the psychosocial issues of caregiving is the hardest job in the world. You are watching someone you love decline.
Right.
And it's heartbreaking.
And it's exhausting. Is that fair?
And it is incredibly exhausting. I mean, I always say sometimes when you're caregiving for young children, just when you can't stand another diaper change, they're potty trained. Just when the whining is like, they kind of go to the next step and find their words, right? So it's caregiving when you're watching for young children and they're advancing and evolving and improving. That's hard, but it has all those celebratory moments. When you're caregiving for someone who is declining over time, there are blessings in there of relationship, but it's painful. It's excruciating to watch someone lose their skills or their, the things that make them lots of times.
And if they're a spouse, they're probably not a young person to begin with.
Correct.
So there's already some pain.
Exactly. They end up having their own health issues. One of the things we know for a fact is that caregivers who are providing care for someone with Alzheimer's, their own health declines.
Yeah, I know.
Because physically it's so taxing.
I mean, my dad had dementia, but not Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And as he aged, and mom was his primary caretaker. And that was a lot.
It can be a lot.
And it was pretty exhausting. But
it's exhausting physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Like I said, so she lost her partner, right? Over time. She was losing this person who I'm sure was, more than her equal and, someone that she had navigated life with. And all of a sudden she's watching that person slowly decline and it's excruciating.
So people can contact the organization and get questions answered?
100%. First of all, we have a 24-hour hotline just because I do find that caregivers and people newly diagnosed can feel very overwhelmed and in crisis and alone. So there's a 24-hour hotline. It's on our website, but it's also 1-800-272-3900.
So there's someone, a real person, not a chatbot, that someone could say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this.
Exactly.
I can't get them out of the shower.
Correct.
I don't know.
I'm worried about their safety.
Worried about their safety, and they can have a real conversation.
A mastered level social worker will answer that call. We'll support them through that call, and also then connect them to local chapter supports that we provide. Right. So. You just need to reach out to us either locally or the 800 number at 24 hours a day, and then we can find out what it is you need. We'll probably bring you in for a care consult, and then try to, personalize.
Is there going to be a cure to the disease?
Absolutely.
Now, you're saying that because it's on your job description?
No.
So tell me, give me some hope. Speak some things.
I wouldn't have said that a year and a half ago. What is happening in the last year and a half in this era of treatment, for the first time, we have treatment, we have drugs approved and 200 in the pipeline that will slow the progression of the disease. We are figuring out new diagnostic tools so that people can be properly diagnosed early on and then slow that progression. And it's so closely as a disease tied to Parkinson's and MS and other diseases. As research comes in for each of those, it's going to support the process and I think there'll be multiple cures, not a cure, but multiple cures and multiple tools. You
weren't faking that. You got all energized and excited, and I could see that there's something on the horizon that you can see and feel. So if people have questions, the 800 and the 24-hour number, 800-272-3900. The Syracuse Alzheimer's Association, go online, alzheimers.org/New York.
Yes.
You can find it easy enough. People can have questions, and I'm sure you probably take donations. Is that fair?
Absolutely. We take donations to do our work. All our services are free. So when you call and ask for care consultant support, education and training, all free.
Awesome.
There you go. Well, thank you very much, Kate Flannery, right there. And you have a great rest of the day, okay?
Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Awesome. Okay, coming up next, we're going to talk with Jim Costello. He's the regional manager of Burt's Bikes right here on The Local Show, 570 WSYR 106.9 FM.